I hope this isn't focus. Focus on me. But focus on me. Hello, kindred spirits. Today I'm going to be talking about the quiet kid, the quiet girl, the quiet boy. Now, you might be a quiet boy or a quiet girl. I feel like every classroom has the quiet kid. This video is gonna be totally unscripted. How to survive high school as the quiet kid. Now, I have empathy for all of those quiet kids out there because I was, and I still am, a quiet kid. Like, even in my college. I thought that I could change, but I think that we're this way for a reason. I always thought that something was wrong with me and I should change. It's kind of weird because I wasn't always the quiet kid. I've been the popular girl. I've been the quiet kid. I've been the quiet kid for most of my life, actually. Kind of from like 7th to now and like my 2nd year of college. For all those quiet kids out there, like I think that for me, I didn't know that there was a thing. I didn't know what being introverted or extroverted was. I didn't know that there was other people out there who were quiet in their class. Like I thought that I was the only one. I felt so alone. I wasn't this way all the time. So how come I'm this way now? How come I'm quiet now? And I realized that it's because I just don't feel like comfortable around the surroundings that I'm in. Because I find that when I'm comfortable in a place, then I will start talking and I can actually be like the most talkative person. That's how it was when I was in 3rd grade. I had 3 years of schooling in Nigeria, and when I first went there, I was super quiet and super shy. I didn't say anything, and then I kind of warmed up, and then I became like the popular girl by 5th grade. I just think that the reason why I was like that is because I felt comfortable and I didn't feel like anyone was judging me. This thing that I've heard that your body and your mind are like, they talk to you. Your body tells you stuff. It communicates with you. And sometimes people don't listen to that. If you feel kind of off in a certain place, it could be because something, like you're not meant to be there, or you're just like, it's just not your place. When I first came to 3rd grade in Nigeria, I felt very off. Like I felt very like, oh, this is a new surrounding. And that's why I didn't really say much. There's also like a trauma response. Like everyone has like how they respond to trauma. And the way that I responded to trauma was just by not saying a thing. There's this video of this woman and she was just like in an office and she shut the door and you watched it and then you would know what your trauma response, like what was your initial response?
You don't know your trauma response? Here's an easy way to tell in less than 5 seconds. It's locked.
Like, what was your initial response when she did that? And whatever it is, that could be your trauma response. What your body does or how you feel when you go through something that's very traumatic or like an incident. It doesn't have to be like something super extravagantly trauma-inducing, but even like the littlest things. Like, how do you react in those like uncomfortable scenarios? Or my initial thing is just to not say anything. I don't want to waste my energy. Like, I'm an introvert. I don't want to like give my energy out. Like when I speak and speaking, it really drains my energy. So I know that in order to preserve my energy or to preserve my strength, I just don't say anything because I need to breathe, especially in those situations where something traumatic happens and I'm just like, I don't know, I just like lock up, like the cages in my mind just like lock up. And I realized that is how I felt when I was in 3rd grade or primary 3. I was shy at first, but then I warmed up because I felt the situation and the trauma wasn't there anymore. So I could be myself and I could talk and I can make friends. But then when I went back to America, this was like in 6th, 7th grade. I skipped 6th grade, whole story. I went to 7th grade. I thought I was going to warm up. I was like, I just have to give it time. It's just going to be like in 3rd grade and then I'm going to warm up. But I didn't warm up. I still haven't warmed up yet. And I'm like in college, 32nd year, like I haven't warmed up yet. And I was like, why am I not warming up? I finally got the answer, and it's just that my body probably just doesn't feel welcome in these places. Like, you don't have to force speaking. Who said that you not speaking is like the worst thing in the world, like, or something's wrong with you? Yes, there's instance like if the teacher, like if you're like a group project to not say anything, that's like different. Like if you're just like, you don't really speak as much, you're not as like loud, that's not like, nothing's wrong with that. Because for the longest time I thought that something was wrong with being quiet, but nothing's really wrong with that. Like I said, I never really warmed up. I was like, why am I not warming up? And I just think it's because I don't feel comfortable in that place to warm up. Like every shy person, they don't always just say nothing. They can speak, they can talk like every normal person. They have a personality, they just don't show it around. Like for introverts or some people who like to preserve their energy, they don't like to show it around to just anyone. Like, school might not be like the place where you feel most welcome or most comfortable, and that's maybe why you don't talk as much. At first I was like, maybe I have to change, I have to be social, but you really don't have to change. I think that you should accept yourself, and you should know that nothing's wrong with you for being quiet. Like, if I could tell something to myself back when I was in high school, I would say nothing is wrong with you for being quiet. Own being quiet. There are loud people in the class, and there needs to be a balance. Sometimes these people that talk a lot, I've been in a situation where I've just talked so much in class, which I know if I tell that to people, like in my high school, they're gonna be like, there's no way. But I was like that in kindergarten to first grade to fifth grade. I talked a lot, and I always got myself into trouble because I just could not shut up. Like, I would say things that I didn't really want to say. People who talk a lot, they're not planning on saying a lot that day. Sometimes they're like, maybe I just want to be mysterious today. Maybe I'm going to be angry today. And then they go to school and they just can't control it. They're just free. I don't know. They just feel comfortable anywhere. And that's a good thing. Like, nothing's wrong with people who are outgoing. But I feel like people who are outgoing are just put on like a pedestal. And then like the introverts are just locked away. And I feel like quiet people, they're not always introverts. But for me, I'm an introvert and I'm quiet. And that's my story. I'm shy, I'm an introvert, and I'm quiet. Those are 3 things that I am, and I know that there's some introverts who aren't shy. I know that there's some quiet kids who aren't introverts. I know that there's some quiet kids who aren't shy. I'm shy to an extent. I feel like my shyness has kind of dwindled down a little bit, but my quietness has stayed the same. My shyness before was anxiety inducing. Like, I would go full days, I would never say a thing. For me to say one word in class was like groundbreaking. I was like, no one even like tried to talk to me because they were like, she's not gonna say anything. Like, I was that girl. Like, and I literally sat still. Like, I could not move. Like, when I walked into the school building, I would just freeze up. Like, I wouldn't be able to like move. And I didn't really know why. Like, I got bullied. And for me, school was like a cage. It was just like a prison. I was bullied from like, when I came back from Nigeria to 7th grade to 7th grade, 8th grade for 2 years. But then in 9th grade, when we went to high school, I thought that I was going to get bullied. I was so afraid to go back to school. I thought that I was going to get bullied again. But my they actually like were nice to me. And I was like, why are they nice to me? And I thought that they watched this movie because there was this movie over the summer that came out and it was called 8th Grade. I'm going to put it on the screen or something. I was like, did they watch that movie? Because that movie, when I watched that movie 8th grade, I was like, this explains my whole 8th grade experience. I got bullied in 8th grade. I was like the quiet kid. I didn't have really much friends. I spent a lot of time online because I felt like that's where I could be myself. And I was like, did they watch that movie? I was like, they definitely watched that movie because like now they didn't bully me anymore. Now that, all the popular kids knew who I was, so I kind of was like known in school. Like, even when I was like quiet, like in 8th grade, I was known. Like, I was just sitting down in a classroom one time and then this boy came up that I've never seen before and he said my name and I was like, how does he know my name? And I think we're doing like a test in class, so like all of like the 8th graders, and this was a big school, I've never seen these 8th graders before, but they were in my grade, and he said my name and I was like, he said it so casually, like he's heard it 3,000 times before, and I've never seen this person before. And that's when I knew that these mother trucking popular kids were saying my name. I don't even know why they picked on me. How do you survive high school as a quiet kid? I would say by being yourself and by accepting the fact that nothing is wrong with you. Like, if you're super shy, I was super shy, like to the point where I didn't say anything. I had too much social anxiety to speak. I thought that everyone was going to judge me. I was too afraid. I couldn't open my mouth. I didn't feel safe. I think that you should just try. It's gonna be hard, but maybe if you like have like a new year of school, you should just like try to speak. Try to warm up a bit slowly, one day at a time. Answer one question in a class. Because the reason why I feel like I wouldn't even say a single word in class was because I thought that everyone was judging me. And there might be like those bullies. And how I got rid of my 7th grade bullies, even though in 8th grade I still got bullied again. There's this boy who he just wouldn't freaking leave me alone. I don't really know this is something you should do. I didn't know that I was gonna do this. I was just sitting down in class. I didn't even move. Like, I was just like, and then boom, Mr. Lala comes around and just tries to like take my book. I don't know why he's trying to take my book. Like, these bullies, they don't have anything to do with themselves. Like, I know that all of my bullies, they are hurting inside. They are depressed, or something's wrong with their life. Don't pay them any mind. Don't give them that satisfaction. You're probably not even giving them any satisfaction, but maybe just like surprise them and just be like, I wasn't expecting to do this, but he tried to take my book and I was like, imagine. They've never seen me as much as yawn in class or sneeze in class. So the fact that I was like, that he never, ever bothered ever again, because he was scared to. He didn't know what else I could do. He was like, whoa, if she could do that, and I didn't think that she could even talk, and who knows what else she could do. Maybe I'm just gonna leave her. And then he started complimenting me. Oh, I like your shoes. And I never said anything to him. You just need to be a boss bitch. You need to own that. Shyness is like a mask. It's not really who you are. You could be shy because of social anxiety. Like you feel socially anxious, like everyone's watching you. Everyone really isn't actually watching you. They're not watching you. You can move. You can move around in class. You're not gonna die. It might be hard, but just like try. If you're that like socially anxious, try moving around. I feel like every year of school, I just got more and more comfortable and I got like less and less shy. I was still very, very, very shy, but each year of school, I got less shy because I was like, I knew what to expect. And like in 8th grade, I warmed up a bit more. I moved around and I had like acquaintances. I didn't have like best friends, but I had like acquaintances or people who I talked to at school. I was still the quiet kid, but I still talked more. And then in 10th grade, I talked more. I loosened up, answered questions a bit. I was known as the smart kid. I was always raised my hand. 11th grade, I warmed up a bit more, and then the pandemic hit, and I didn't go to school for 3 years, and then now this year I went back to college in classes. I'm not gonna lie, I barely say anything. Like I raise my hand like once a week to answer a question in a class. I talk to like when we have to talk, like I'm not afraid, like I'm not anxious anymore. Like on the first day of school, like coming after 3 years of being online and not going to school, like when I had to go back to school, I was not shy. Even though I had 3 years of no in-person classes, when I went back to school, I was not scared. I said something to myself. I said this in a video. It was in my video of going back to college, first week of being back in college. I'll put it on the cards. And I was like, it's right here, I think. And I was like, school's not gonna stress me out. I'm gonna stress school out. And that's what I'm doing. So when I went to my first day of school, I was not scared. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I have a little bit of it. Like, I still feel like people will judge me. Sometimes I'm hesitant to answer questions or say something in class. And you can find people, like I'm trying to find people. Like I have not found a community of people who I think that I can beat myself around. But I know that the reason why, I feel this way or I feel socially anxious at times isn't because something's wrong with me. You might think logically, but how come all these other people, they're talking? How come I can't? Sorry, you're just different. You're just different. That's just the way you are. Don't talk. I mean, you're not gonna die if you don't talk. You're not gonna die if you don't have any friends. Don't compare yourself to all these other people. I don't even want to be you. There's a lot of people who can't shut up. And they want to be quiet, but they can't. And you're the mystery girl, mystery boy. I feel like there's a reason why we're quiet. Do you know that song by Aurora? She wrote a song about like the quiet kids, like my queendom come. We're warriors. I know you feel like an insignificant person, but think about it. Usually in every freaking movie, the main character is always an introvert and quiet. In books, most of the freaking characters, 99.9% of the characters are quiet. And trust me, I've read a freaking lot of books because when I was in high school, I didn't eat in the cafeteria. I tried to, but I didn't have any friends, so I just sat with these random group of people. And then one day they just kind of like left the table and they looked at me weird. I was like, peace. And I went to the library and I just stayed there. I'm not saying that you should not eat in the cafeteria. Like you should eat in the cafeteria if you want to, but I felt uncomfortable in the cafeteria. So I was like, I'm going to change that. I'm just going to go to the library. That's my comfort place. And I read bunch of books, got a bunch of books from the library, checked them out, the school library. And the main characters in those books, they're always quiet. And every book, even if the main character isn't an introvert, there's always a quiet kid. So I just want to let you know that nothing is wrong with you and embrace who you are. How do you survive high school as a quiet kid? by being a quiet kid. I feel like one of the biggest reasons why people feel like they can't survive is because they feel like they have to change. And just because you're quiet doesn't mean that you can't have friends. You can still talk. I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk at all. Even though I talk to people in class, I'm still known as a quiet kid. Know that you're not trying to be quiet. You're not trying to draw attention to yourself. But sometimes when you're quiet, you just draw attention to yourself naturally. To survive as a quiet kid in high school, a place where it's not about the quiet, it's not about the introverts, it's about the extroverts, really. To survive high school as an introvert is harder than to survive high school as an introvert is harder than to survive high school as a quiet kid. What? No, to survive high school as an introvert is harder than to survive high school as an extrovert. Which is just sad, but it's the truth and it's unfair. But the way that things are built, with the group presentation, group projects, speaking more, sharing opinions, presentations, all this crap, you just have to adapt. And I think that you'll get better with time. Just realize that these people are people. Like, I know everyone says this, that they're just people, but like, everyone is just you. Just like, everyone literally is you, but just in a different version. Like, we're all the same. There's no need to be afraid. There's no need to put these people on a pedestal. They're the same as you. They're not better than you. You're the same. You're equal. Yes, you might get nervous, and it's okay to feel nervous. Nothing's wrong with you for feeling nervous to do presentations, to do projects, to do group work, but you should talk in these group works. You don't have to be like the loudest person and say random things if you don't want to say something. Give input. What I want you to do is, if you have something to say, say it. If you don't have anything to say, don't say anything at all. If you don't have anything to say and then you start to force saying stuff, that's not the way to go. You shouldn't force trying to be an extrovert because you're not that way. That's why I say you need to accept who you are. If you want to talk and you don't talk, that's when the problem occurs, because then you're silencing yourself. But there's a difference between not having anything to say and then not saying anything, because you genuinely are just listening and you don't have anything to say. But if you have something to say, say it. So that's my drill for you. If you have something to say, say it. You will get through this. 4 years, you will get better. Those 4 years, you will grow. You will grow out of your shyness. You just have to, if you keep putting yourself out there, don't hide in a bubble. Please don't, because that will not get you anywhere. Speak, talk, open up your mind. Survive by being you and knowing that you are amazing. You are awesome. I hope that this taught you something, gave you some confidence in being quiet. Now you can go to school and conquer the world and be free.